What's up, guys? Welcome to the Success Talk, where sustaining success inside and out is the topic. I'd like to welcome our special guest, CPA, with a focus on real estate investors, servicing real estate investors, Mr. Nick Aiola. Nick, I appreciate you coming on. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, D'Angelo. Thanks for having me.
No doubt, man. Well, what does the seven-letter word success mean to you?
Man, that's a good question. So success for me, I say probably like in the simplest terms is to be able to do what I want, when I want, how I want, and with whoever I want. I don't really
Right.
tie it to like a certain dollar amount or, certain number of doors if you're an investor.
Mm-hmm.
More just about like, how do you view that for you and
Mm-hmm.
your family? Like, what does that mean for you? And
Exactly.
that's exactly how I view it, like flexibility. Where do I want to be spending my time? Who do I want to be spending it with? What'll I be doing with my time? Because that's the one thing, you can't get back. So
Right.
being flexible with that defines success for me.
No doubt. No doubt. Living life without limitation. That's good, man.
Exactly.
That's what's up.
Exactly.
Well, I definitely
Yep.
appreciate you sharing that perspective. So, now let's go ahead and take a deep dive. If you don't mind, for the audience, can you share a bit about yourself, starting with where you were born and raised, and briefly explain how we got here today?
Absolutely. Yeah. So born and raised in New York, Rockland County, which is just maybe like 25 miles north of Manhattan. So not too far
Mhm.
from the city. So I'm still here now. So spent my whole life here pretty much. Went to school, to college up near the Albany area, so Capital Region. So I've been New York through and through, basically. So that's where I do my investing. That's where the business is based out of for now.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so that's kind of the story from where I started and where I currently still am.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, now I
Mhm.
like to briefly add to that, guys. So the first time Nick and I met was back in 2020. It was after my first year of full-time real estate investing. I learned that TurboTax wasn't going to cut it, so I had to find somebody, more official. So came across my guy Nick through Bigger Pockets, and he came highly recommended, and he helped me a lot with that transition from having a W-2 income to being self-employed. So I definitely felt like it was imperative for me to have this guy on and for him to share just a little bit of his expertise with you guys to make sure you're prepared for the next phase of life on your journey. You feel me? So Nick, at
Appreciate
what
that.
age, no doubt for sure. At what age did you become an entrepreneur, and why, if you don't mind sharing?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, look, I feel like I started out that way from a kid. You always do little things and, try to make money, try to do things that you like to do. I always feel like I had that mindset. So in my mind, like ever since I can remember, I feel like I had that in me. As far as actually working, as far as a CPA goes, I mean, pretty much right out of the gate, like as soon as I graduated from college, I had a job immediately in Manhattan at a small accounting firm. And
Okay.
they always allowed us to kind of have our own like book of business, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So there was really no limitation on what we could do. I mean, if we had our CPA, we paid for that ourselves. We paid for the tests, the courses, everything ourselves. So they were basically like, do what you want with it. So
Right, right.
they didn't have to tell me twice. So I started right away
That's what.
and basically started building my own book of business right out the gate at like 21 years old
Mm,
and never really looked back. So the more I got, the more experience I got with the firm. Eventually I was, like, man, I could, certain things you feel like, you could do this better.
right.
You could be more organized, or you want to in my case, I wanted to specialize in real estate.
Mm,
So we I did exactly that.
right.
Eventually became fully on my own and just starting a firm that was specific to real estate investors. And that's kind of more of like the why for me was,
Yeah.
again, going back to the beginning when you asked me about success.
Right.
I wanted flexibility. I wanted to be able to be my own boss and
Right.
do run the company how I wanted it to be run and work with the people I wanted to work with, which is people
Mhm.
just like me, real estate investors.
Right.
Um, so that was kind of like the why, and it just from there on, it just once you jump in with both feet, you never look back.
No doubt. No doubt. That's interesting. And one thing I find interesting about what you said, from pretty much any entrepreneur that I speak with, and myself included, you've always had this feeling that you wanted to be an entrepreneur since the beginning. So yeah, it's definitely
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. That
Someone told me once before that only an entrepreneur will work 80 hours a week for themselves, so they
mm,
don't work 40 for somebody else. And I was
mm,
like, Yeah, that makes sense.
That sums it up perfectly.
Yeah, right.
So right now, do you personally own any real estate? And if so, how many doors?
Do own real estate. Actually, we're in contract for a new primary. We'll be moving next month, so this will become where I am right now will become a rental. So that'll be 5 doors, all in New York State, and then hopefully next year add a few more. Looking to get into the Airbnb space next year, so we'll see what happens there.
No
But
doubt.
for now, yeah, just long-term rental properties.
No doubt, no doubt. And guys, give our guy a warm round of applause. He's purchasing a primary residence. So that's big,
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
No doubt, man. So what do you love most about being a CPA?
Good question. Because every time I talk to somebody and they're like, man, you choose to do this, you choose to deal with taxes. How could you possibly even like that? So for me, it's really about like, I like to help people. So I know that, like I said, I'm working with real estate investors, real estate businesses on a daily basis. I know that taxes, whether it's property taxes, income taxes, whatever kind of taxes, is usually an investor or an individual's biggest expense. So if I can help people save money to continue to invest to help them and their family, that's why I love doing it, because taxes are hard and taxes are complicated. And my whole thing is, how can I digest this difficult information and make it easy to understand and apply for people who are, trying to save money on these taxes. So that's why I like to do it. Numbers make sense to me.
Yeah.
The tax law makes sense to me. Applying it, I enjoy finding strategies for different people on how they could save money, where they could put their money to make them more money. That's interesting to me. So if I can help people and make them keep more of the money that they're working hard to earn, that makes me happy. So that's why I like being a CPA.
That's what's up, man. And that gives me goosebumps because I love to be in contact with people who love what they're doing, in their profession, in their career. And the main focal point there was helping people. And I feel like, with all of us, no matter what our careers are, if we're helping people, that really brings fulfillment to our day-to-day life in all aspects. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, couldn't have said it better myself.
No doubt, no doubt. I definitely appreciate you sharing that perspective. And, one thing that I actually believe in is how you are in one area of life is how you will be in all areas of life. So this belief has made me, no doubt, this belief has made me become more aware of the correlation between what happens in my business and what happens in my personal life. So the main correlation that I've really noticed are my personal values, and I've noticed that they are in really direct alignment with my business values. And as long as I'm upholding those values on a day-to-day basis, I can go to sleep feeling successful. So if you don't mind, can you share 3 of your own values, whether it's business or personal, and how you utilize your values on a day-to-day basis to help you feel successful despite outer circumstance?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, D'Angelo, I completely agree with you, because if, like I said, I'm like you said in just a few minutes ago, that if you don't believe in what you're doing, if you're not, if you don't have that entrepreneurial spirit and you don't believe in what you're doing, it's harder to succeed, in my opinion. So if you do believe in what you're doing, you can see your personal values shine through your business and your investments and whatever else you're doing. So totally agree. Yeah, I mean, look, I would say 3 qualities, that personal qualities that I attribute to business too would be integrity first and foremost, honesty, transparency. That integrity to me is almost, it's just as important in business as it is personal, because you have to establish trust. You have to work with people that you can trust, and that you want to work with, that will do good work and be honest with you. I'm sure you and me and everybody else listening too can name a couple of times I dealt with contractors or somebody that maybe necessarily wasn't very trustworthy and wasn't a great experience. So integrity is very important to me. Quality is also very important to me. Quality over quantity. I'm a big believer that buying cheap is more expensive. So when you're purchasing something, or when you're producing something or delivering something like a service or a product, quality is way more important than quantity. So that's personally and business too, I take that approach. And then third, I guess, would be communication. Open lines of communication, transparency again, just making sure that people are understanding and each other and on the same page always. That's effective, that's efficient. My wife will be the first to tell you that I could probably get better at that communication. So that's something that I always work at, but I think it's super important.
Right, right. Man, that's huge. So you got integrity, communication, and
Quality.
quality. Yes, that's huge. That's very huge. And especially with that communication part, we always can be better with communicating with it, whether it's with our loved ones or, our relationships. But one thing that I think we all can say that we value is someone that does communicate with us. So that's pretty big. That's pretty big, guys. Make sure you guys definitely hold on to that. Now, some of the people that are tuning in are new real estate investors, specifically wholesalers. And as a CPA yourself, are there any techniques or practices that you recommend these guys or these people, these women as well, to follow throughout the year to be in the best position come tax season?
Yeah, great question. So tax planning is super important. So what I always recommend is that you get out in front of it. The last thing you want to do is try to scramble and find somebody to help you save taxes when it's March or April. At that point, the year is already over. It's hard to go backwards. Right. And oftentimes with a lot of good strategies, it's impossible to go backwards. You want to be proactive. You want to get out in front of it. If you're a wholesaler, and D'Angelo, I know you're familiar with this, that wholesaling is self-employment income. So you're paying self-employment tax on top of regular income tax. So it's higher tax rate than rental income, for example. So we want to make sure that you're really in a good position to shelter some of that. So that could be something like setting up a self-employed retirement plan, like a solo 401k, or running your health insurance through your business, or even auto deductions, home office, things like that. These are all conversations that should be had, because you'd be surprised at how much you can actually save just by moving money from one pocket to the other, or tracking expenses correctly. Because if you don't have proper bookkeeping, then I'll go back in at tax time and I'll say, well, where are your expenses for the year? And you may not really remember what you spent in May or June or something like that. So be on top of it, be proactive. That's the best advice I could give. And know what you don't know, seek help where you need it. Don't be afraid to call around and ask for help. Those are the two best things that I could say, probably.
Definitely. That's great advice, guys. And just to piggyback off that a bit, some of those tax saving strategies that he had mentioned, and also tax planning strategies he had mentioned, just from me working with Nick over the course of, about 2 years now, he's helped me a lot personally be able to save money and also being able to keep up with my taxes throughout the year. So like he said, come March and April, I'm not scrambling. So if that's something you guys are interested in learning more about, definitely get in contact with them. We'll have more on that very soon. And also you can look in the description on how to get in contact with them, because he definitely can help you guys out there. So Nick, one thing, if you don't mind sharing, just giving us a brief overview of your day-to-day schedule. I know that's kind of out there, but if you don't mind just giving us a bit of overview, what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
I love that question, because I'm a huge systems guy, huge processes guy. I time block all the time. So my day is planned out by the minute, basically, usually on a day-to-day basis. So that's right up my alley. I try to block out, everything that I have to do. I try to anyway. Every day is different, right? But I try to put the most important things to do in the morning, get those done, where I'm, fresh, awake, can devote most of my attention to it before the day really starts. So I'm usually up by 6 a.m. And then I start on most of those important tasks around 7 a.m. That way, when the rest of the world is getting ready to go at it at 9, I've got a solid 2 hours of tackling the most important things for the day, the week, the month, whatever. So that's where I try to focus that. And then, obviously always client meetings or networking events, whatever that may be throughout the day, where I have scheduled meetings. And then, fill in the blanks with, again, priorities, just kind of working backwards. What's the priority for the year? Then what's the priority for the quarter? Then the month, then the week, then the day. And ultimately you get down to the hour and the half hour, and, not necessarily really as involved as the minute, but you get the idea. What's the most important task that'll help you out going forward? And try to structure it each day.
Laying a brick a day.
Laying a brick a day. Yeah. Eventually you got a wall and then a house.
Exactly. That's what's up, man. And guys, one thing that you should definitely, just mentally note there is the planning in general. So I can't say I don't plan my day as much as Nick just explained that he planned his. just I don't do that. But I do have, like you said, your overall goals, your overall direction. You have to have some type of direction that you're moving for. Just putting one foot in front of the other every day, or you want to be like a ship just blowing in the wind. So you got to make sure you definitely are doing something on a day-to-day basis to make sure you are heading where you want to be. You can't just look up and, say you want to be somewhere and you're not doing something on a day-to-day basis to get there. So the priorities, definitely make sure you stay up with your priorities. Nick,
Great
how
advice.
do you, yes, sir. How do you balance all this though? Besides the systems, mentally, how do you balance this?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, for me, I love doing it. So I don't feel like I'm working a lot of the time. Tax
No
season be a
doubt.
little different. You ask me in March and April, I'll feel like I'm working for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
a lot of the time, it's even with the invest, like I enjoy this. I enjoy real estate. I could talk about this stuff all day. So
Mhm.
for me, this is work and hobbies. They kind of blend together because it's stuff that I actually like doing, especially being an entrepreneur. You love your business, right? Your business
Right,
is your baby. So when
right.
you are doing things for it to help it grow, even if it's not working in the business, if you're working on the business, that's rewarding. So
Mhm.
it's pretty easy for me to mentally say that, I'm going to wake up and do this today, or I'm going to put in a little extra time here today, because for me, it makes sense. So
Right,
I enjoy it. I
right.
enjoy it.
That's what's up, man. And it's funny you said it doesn't feel like work, because that's something that I say as well. But I guess if it doesn't feel like work, then what would you call it? If in a non-work term, what would you call what you do, and just everything? What would you say it is?
It sounds cliche, but I probably say like a passion. I mean,
Mhm,
running a business, being able to run a business that helps people, and then
mhm.
running a business that helps people that like to do what I do too.
Right,
I
right.
I don't think I could classify it any other way. So I'm passionate about it. I
Yeah,
think about it all the time, even when I'm not sitting in front of the desk doing a tax return. I'm
right.
thinking about how to improve the business and how to help people further.
Yeah.
So I would say a passion. Sounds cheesy, but it's true.
Nah, that's great. That's great. I like that. I'm gonna have to start using it. The passion.
Yeah.
There it is, man. So recently there was a bill signed making a lot of new tax regulations for cryptocurrency. And since I do believe we all are investors first and the tax regulations are still new, I would like to ask for anyone out there that may be interested in your CPA services and they're also investing in crypto. Are you
Mhm.
knowledgeable of the new cryptocurrency tax regulations, and will you be able to help them file their crypto returns?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of change with crypto. I mean, the thing with crypto is that it's brand new, right?
Right,
For tax purposes. It's been around
right,
for a little while, but in the eyes of the IRS, tax law, the the mass of people really getting into it now, it's brand new.
right.
Brand new in tax lingo always means, you know, the Wild West, basically. So we don't know what the IRS is going to do.
Right.
We don't know how they're going to handle certain things. And eventually, as people do it more and more, the laws start to get written, examples start to be made, and
Mhm,
then you start to get a little bit more concrete idea of what's allowed and what
mhm,
isn't. So up until this point, we've kind of been operating like, well, crypto is like you can kind of do things that you couldn't do normally with stocks, and
right.
kind of treat them a little bit differently and plan a little bit differently. So what these new laws are surrounding crypto are doing is it's tightening that up a little bit. So loopholes
Mhm,
are being closed.
right.
So you definitely want to be aware that you're up to speed with all this stuff, because a lot of
Mhm,
this crypto activity isn't really reported to the IRS. It will be.
right.
There will be that requirement soon, but you
Mhm,
want to make sure you're really buttoned up about that, because that's the whole idea with crypto and blockchain. It's that it's traceable
mhm,
information, and you can see, you can just reference it.
mhm,
So that's what we want to make sure that everybody's got, but everybody's buttoned up and doing what they're supposed to be doing.
right.
And as far as putting it on the tax return, yeah, we have, I mean, now especially a ton of clients who invest in crypto. I do myself.
Right, right. Well, there it is, guys. So if you are, real estate investor out there trying to figure out what you're doing with your money, if it's vested in crypto, then you have someone right here that that's knowledgeable of the crypto tax laws and the crypto tax field and can help you stay above the board, because you don't want the IRS knocking at your door 5, 10 years from now and talking about where's my money. So
That's for sure. That's for sure.
they go get it either way. They go get it.
Yeah.
So, Nick, last question. By your own definition, do you consider yourself successful?
Yeah, I mean, it feels a little funny to say it like that, like, you know, that I'm successful, but by my own definition, to be
Yeah,
able to do what I want to do, you know,
right,
when I want to do it as an entrepreneur, yeah, I have that
right.
flexibility. And, you know, if I'm able to take some time and do what I want on a given day or a given
Right.
chunk of a day, I can do that. So yeah,
That's what's up.
I'll say yes, happily.
That's what's up. It makes me smile because I understand, I feel like, part of being an entrepreneur, especially part of, being successful, being modest comes with that. And I understand that, to say you're successful, it's like,
Right.
but at the same time, that's why I wanted to start this off by you giving your own definition of
I
success,
like that.
because anybody's successful. The teacher who wants to be a teacher, the janitor who wants to be a janitor, as long as you're doing something that you want to do in life, you are successful yourself. So,
Exactly.
Nick, thanks again for coming on and sharing your perspective. I wish you nothing but more growth and success in the new year. Where can the audience get in contact with you?
Thanks so much, Angelo. Yeah, same to you, of course.
No problem.
Best place to probably reach me and reach us is our website. It's IolaCPA.com, AIOLA CPA.com. That has all social media handles, contact information. So that's probably the best place to get in touch with me. And even if it's not even about taxes or anything, if it's real estate, you know, you just want to talk, like I said, that's I could talk shop about this stuff all day. So
Definitely.
always happy to network, meet new people, and then if someone is in the market for a CPA, happy to help there too.
There it is. There it is, guys. Well, there it is, guys. So you definitely can hit that link in the description, and it's also right here on your screen as well. So whatever you need to do, screenshot it, hit the link, go and get in contact with my guy, Nick Aiola. Nick, again, I appreciate having you on, and I'm definitely proud to see that you are still in business and also grown in business since we've first come in contact. That's always big to see. You got any
Thank you so
last
much. Yeah.
words? Yes, sir. Any last words that you would like to share with the audience?
Take action. Take action. If you're thinking about it, do it. You know, if
Yeah.
it's something you want to do, whether it's entrepreneurial or investment, no analysis paralysis. Go for it. You'll figure it out, and definitely get after it. That's the last thing I'd say, probably.
There it is. That's real, guys. The first time Nick and I did a Zoom call, he noticed one of my I had the marathon continues on my stuff, and
Yeah,
he knew all about it. So that's all I
that's
really
right.
need to say for the ones that really know. Guys, until next time, as always, get the stepping.
Thanks, Angel.
That was great, bro. I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks so much for having me, man.